These are pictures that I shot earlier in the afternoon as a thunderstorm. You can see here the thunderclouds building up, and this is my backyard kind of looking out. So I was just kind of watching this thunderstorm build and taking pictures to document it. You'll see those clouds just kind of, isn't it fascinating how nature works when you can see these clouds full of moisture just kind of grow out of nothing and expand at such a rapid rate. And of course, this thunderstorm was a really big one. We had a lot of, I think they had reports of softball size hail in some areas of North Texas as a result of this. So that was sad, but it's interesting to watch it take place. Okay, so isn't that interesting with how dark the clouds are in front of these white background clouds? So now we're going to get to the later pictures. I think it's two more. All right, so I went inside and ate dinner. My wife had come home and we had dinner together. And, I've probably said this a few times in the past, but sometimes I just get a feeling. And that feeling is that I need to go outside. And when that happens, more often than not, very often, I will see something unusual. Orbs, UFOs, whatever. So that was a strong feeling that I got. And I only took one picture, and then I realized that I needed to kind of get my mind relaxed. So I took this one picture, and then I stopped for 5 minutes, closed my eyes, and did what I do to prep myself for seeing UFOs. And again, I'm just sharing this with you not for any particular reason other than to kind of let you know how it transpired. So that's why this next photograph, it's darker, noticeably darker, because I stopped. And it may have been 10 minutes. I didn't check the timestamp. But this is the picture right before the event started. So I'm observing these clouds. And if you'll watch down here in this area of the picture, this very next frame, there's something right there. Can you see it? It's very small. But if you look carefully, I think you can see that. There's an orb that comes into view right there. So that was the very first one. And again, I fully expected something to happen. So when that happened, after that first single frame that I snapped, when I saw that, I just got myself ready. So the very next picture, you see how I'm kind of oriented, centering the clouds in my view. Well, watch what the next picture does. All I did is re-centered so that I've centered this in my view and took a couple of more pictures. So, and again, I'm just going to zoom these. We'll do the expanded view of each one of these orb pictures in a later video, and I've already recorded it and everything, but it's over 20 minutes. So this will be a fairly short video, just kind of lay the groundwork for what I observed, and then we'll do the deep diving in the next video. So here's the second picture again. All I did is adjusted where I'm holding the frame so it's centered. And I took two images. So that was the first one. This is the second one. And you can still see the orb. It's going to work its way across. And it took about 2 seconds to work all the way across here. So there's the second frame of the orb. And then at this point, I made a decision to go ahead and zoom in. Now here's the problem with that. And photographers will understand what I'm saying here. With my zoom lens, the farther I zoom in, the less light I gather with that lens. So the challenge is, because it was almost dark, I knew if I zoomed in more, I was going to lose light gathering, and I wouldn't have time to adjust the shutter speed or the ISO setting. So I made the conscious decision. Again, here's the first pictures, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. So I went ahead and zoomed in here, and you notice that it's noticeably darker. That's because as you zoom in with a lens, you choke down the light. You get less light into the image, basically. So there's the next image, and when we blow this one up, it'll be an interesting one. So just wait till you see the blow-ups of these. And then I just held the shutter down once I had zoomed in, and I took probably 10 or 11 photographs in a row. So I'm just going to kind of show you one at a time, just to give you the full perspective of what this was. As you'll see in the blow-ups of these, your standard excuses that people use for what these is, it's not a balloon, it's not a bird, it's not a bug, it's not an airplane, it's not a drone, it's not, well, could it be ball lightning? Yes, it could be. I don't know enough about ball lightning, but when we study these images up close, you may change your opinion on that. Now notice this one, how it started to get less bright. I don't know why that is, but nothing changed. All my settings are the exact same for all this series. I did a burst shot of, I think, 11 images here. So we're going to look at them one at a time. Here's the next image. Now it's back to bright. And it's moving across there. And based on the spacing of it, it seems like it's variable speed as well. So it wasn't moving at a constant speed, but it kind of hesitates for a couple of pictures, then goes a little further, hesitates, goes a little further. And if you're curious, I'll just do a pinch zoom so we can just see it. This is just one I picked at random, but isn't that interesting how the edge is glowing, but it's just glowing in a couple spots. Look, it's glowing right there and right there in that image. So we'll see these a lot closer when we do our deep dive in the next video, but I wanted you to at least get a feel for what this event that I recorded was. So there's the next image, and you can see it keeps moving here. For those that are getting curious, so there's another peek at what we'll see when we do the deep dive. And a couple of these frames are really crisp, so you'll enjoy looking at those especially, and I'll study those in more detail. Now I'm curious, what is that one? Oh yeah, look at that one. Can you see the interesting glow here? So you got a real bright glow on this edge and then this section. Isn't that interesting? So yeah, this is, you know, I see a lot of stuff lately, but this one was really fascinating for me. Okay, so that was the ending of it. So after this image, I snapped, I tried to do a video, and the video didn't record because I didn't have time. I had to let these frames buffer, and I didn't think about it in my head, but with my camera, if I do a burst image set, even though I have a Sony Tough card, a real fast speed card, you still have like a second lag time. When you let off the shutter, it has to buffer all those images and then you can record. Well, by the time the buffering was done, the object was already gone. So I just snapped an image of it so you can see what it looked like. And I think I'd zoom back out a little so it's a little brighter. But so that's the span we watched. Again, we'll just kind of look at them. So you can see the object it's not consistent movement. It's okay, and that was the end of it. So that's the orb disc, entity, whatever you want to apply to it, that I observed. This is just kind of the first look at it so everybody can see what happened. And I will post the next video probably tomorrow. And that's that one. I'll go into great detail, zoom every frame, and we'll look at it very closely. So for UFOs Above Us, this is Matt. I want to encourage everybody, keep watching those skies, because the answers that people are seeking are really up there if your mind is open to the truth. So many today aren't really open. Their minds are closed. So keep watching those skies, y'all.